Hello, welcome to Now Tell Us. Yes, this is a place where we have guests come and tell us something interesting. They come and educate us, they come and inspire us. And always we are having great guests. And today is no exception. We have a guest who is going to tell us about life design based on her experience with interior design. But we are going to learn more than that. And I know that this is going to be an exciting program. And we welcome you to make it even more exciting by asking questions, by commenting. And we appreciate everything. Even when we are off the show, if you get to watch the recorded version of this, then please give us a comment, share it with your friends. As a reminder, you can always find this episode, past episodes, and future episodes on nowtellus.com. So go right there and check. And now, this is the time to have the show going. Let's go. Hello, Shana. How are you?
Hi, Anthony. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. So, Shana Francesca is our guest today. Those of you who've been waiting. Uh, where are you?
I'm in New Jersey, in America.
Okay, beautiful. It's good that we are here with you today. We thank you for coming on to now tell us something interesting, and we are ready and waiting.
Yeah.
Now, we'll give you this opportunity to introduce yourself. Who is Shana?
Yes. Hi. So I'm Shana. I am a life designer, an interior designer, and public. I do some public speaking and writing, and I am really a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm somebody who I spent 17 years as an interior designer. And over the last six years ago, I started my business, and over the last 4 years, I really started to get clear that the way that I worked as an interior designer was in many ways dramatically different than other interior designers, or at least the way that people perceived the way that interior designers worked or work. And really sit down with my clients and get clear on the story they want their life to tell, right? Like, what is their intention for their life? What are the things they want to explore? What are the things they hope to experience? And then to be able to prepare their home as the stage from which they're telling the story of their life, and not in a performative way, but in a way that your home needs to be set up to support all the things that you're going to be acting out, all the ways that you're going to be living your life. And it needs to really set that stage. Our home is one of the three key factors of our happiness. It is actually the second most important. So, number one is our mental health. Number two is our home. And number three is our physical health. And so to understand that there is a direct tie between our mental health and our experience of happiness in our life is really key to being able to live a well-designed, really beautiful life. And so once I really had that language formed about 4 years ago, I started doing group coaching around life design. Not and it had nothing to do with interior design, just designing your life, getting intentional, feeling supported, connecting to curiosity and intention, and reconnecting to our intuition, and learning to form authentic community and connection with one another. And really, that's when things started shifting in my business and focusing more on life design, with interior design being a part of it rather than interior design being the main focus.
That's beautiful
Yeah.
introduction.
Yeah.
And before we even get here, I would like us to go all the way back from where it all started. And by this, I mean, how was it for you growing up and how it all connects to what you are currently doing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I grew up in a really difficult home environment. It was abusive, and that's putting it lightly. And I grew up in a very extreme within very extreme religious beliefs. And there was no recognition of my personhood, of my autonomy, my right to live my life the way that I was meant to, or my choice in doing so. And every time things would get really difficult at home, I started to notice that I would reorganize furniture. I would pick something and like clean it out, or move things around. I really needed to reset the stage, right? I really needed to break my association with what was, and I needed to prepare a space so that I prepare my space so that I could accept new possibilities, so I could create new possibilities. And part of that was for me back then. JC Penney used to send out like these big thick catalogs, and I would take this catalog and I would search through it, and I would pick out all the things that I would circle them, and I would dog ear the pages of all the things that I like wanted to be a part of my life. We were not well off financially. We were
Mhm.
very poor.
Mhm.
And so, imagining a life where I had I wasn't even allowed to pick my own clothes growing up. I wasn't even allowed to wear pants.
Mm.
I was, I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. Um, and so just imagining being able to like pick my own wardrobe, right? And like
Mhm.
represent myself authentically. All those things really, they mattered in ways that I intuitively felt. And so really it became kind of like vision boarding, what people call vision boarding now. I was just imagining what was possible, because I've come to recognize, if we can't imagine it, we can't really do it.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
really have to be able to put ourselves in the place where we can imagine doing something, where we can see and envision ourselves, so that we can take those steps and move forward. Otherwise, I think so much fear comes in of the unknown. And so really my imagination became a big part of my life. And so I guess as somewhere around the age of like 14, 15, I became aware that being an interior designer was a thing. And
Mhm.
I realized that, that was in some part what I was doing. What I felt really connected to was creating environments that really supported who we were as human beings. And then that's where I went and I got my degree in interior design. Um, but unfortunately, when I graduated college in 2007.
Okay.
And so there was a, there was a massive economic collapse in the United States, the Great
Mhm.
Recession in 2008. And so by 2000, mid 2009, I was unemployed and then moved into commercial work. So I
Mm.
worked doing commercial design for more than a decade, for the next 12 years, until 6 years ago when I started my business. I was doing it on the side while I was still working, doing commercial work for my, day job.
Mhm.
And then was able to take my business full time 3 years ago, 3.5 years
Mm.
ago, something like that.
Mhm.
It'll be 4 years in April.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. Now,
yeah.
it's interesting about life, and I come to think of it like that, we live by design, and
Hmm.
living by design calls for imagination, something that you pointed out, that if we don't imagine what we would want us to ourselves to be, we cannot be. If we don't imagine what we would want to have in life, then
Yeah,
there's no way that we are going to find ways to get
yeah,
uh, whatever it is that we want. So I agree with you that imagination is a
yeah,
strong aspect in
yeah.
life.
It's not
Uh-huh.
just yeah, and it's not just imagination. It's imagination combined with curiosity and with play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
really reconnecting to who we were as children. And we weren't meant to give up being curious. We weren't meant to give up our dreams. We weren't meant to give those things up. I
Yeah.
mean, human beings are the only beings on this planet that have to pay to live here. So part of the compromise that we make in being required to pay to live on a planet we didn't actually ask to exist on, and
Yeah.
there's more than enough resources for everyone, but we've established systems that require us to pay to be here, is there's a sacrifice of self that's required to succeed at a level to be able to enjoy a good life.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to give up so much of ourselves to get to the place where we can enjoy our life, and then we can bring parts of those selves back. It's just so messed up. So if we can try to hold on to or reconnect to play and joy and happiness and all these things, and reconnect to, you know, wanting an intention for our life, we really start to design our life. We really, and I don't mean like, you know, I don't mean in the sense of picking every single thing. I mean in the sense of creating a feeling like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I want to feel while I'm living my life? What do I want to experience? And just, and going with that, not like I want a house and a picket fence and kids. Yeah, all that's great. But like, what I mean is connect to the way you want to feel while you're living your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm. Wonderful. And I know this is what I'm imagining is that because I like picking situations and picking lessons from there,
Yeah.
taking experiences and drawing something from it to live by.
Mhm.
And now, because we are talking about interior design and life design, I'm kind of imagining in your career in interior design,
Yeah.
there are some things that you've picked, like yeah, whatever it is that you are going to tell us, and you've applied it to a general way of living a lesson that I can live by from what that you do in life, what you've been doing as a career.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I started out focusing entirely on interior design, and I thought that to be successful, I would have to be, you know, like a famous interior designer,
Mm-hmm.
or really well known, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then I realized, did I actually really want that, or did I just want the life that would come with reaching a certain level of success and then being able to live my life by my own rules?
Okay.
Then I realized that I could live my life by my own rules. Yes, there would be sacrifices that would be required, um, but I could live my life by my own rules now, and I could expand what was possible for myself now, and find ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like, I am, for instance, I'm also an artist, right? And I've been writing since I was a kid. So late, I've been working on like, what are different ways that I can express myself. So I've been writing more, publishing different articles around life design. I've also been doing more drawing and reconnecting to art in my life. And then about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I decided to write my first novel. So I just finished writing my first fiction novel. I'm in the process of editing it right now. It's a romance novel. um,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many aspects of who we are as human beings, and we have every right to explore every aspect of them. So, you know, the more we explore what's possible within ourselves, and the ways in which we can tap into our creativity, the more fulfilled we feel, the more joyful we feel, and the more we are connected to other people around us, right? We have more
Mm-hmm.
things that are just lighting our lights, ourself up. And when we are lit up, we naturally draw people towards us, and we create beautiful community. So that's the way, for me, I just continue to explore what's possible and what I like to do. And then I discover, am I good at it? Is this something that perhaps I might be able to be profitable, or is this just something I enjoy doing and is a hobby, right? Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
all these different ways that we can experience life and joy and connection, and just staying curious is what leads us to all of it.
Mm. And I'm asking myself, what could be one of the greatest achievements that you made, or that time in life that you felt, oh yeah, I've done this, and this brings me much joy, or maybe I've done something to someone that brought them some great achievement or some great,
Yeah.
yeah. What could
Yeah.
it be?
Honestly, when I have conversations with people about life design, whether it be like last about a week or so ago, I was speaking at the Autism Safety Summit. I'm also neurodivergent, so I have ADHD, and
Mm-hmm.
so speaking at the Autism Safety Summit was, you know, talking to people who are like me, and all the speakers were also people like me, and being able to reframe the way that um, people talk about, and the way that we've learned to talk about ourselves as neurodivergent people, is something that's like really incredible to me. But just talking to people about life design in general, the way that like they start to make connections in their own life, like when I'll say to them, you know, there was a woman who came up to me after I gave a short talk about life design, and she said, I'm in the middle of a divorce, and it's kind of rough right now, but like and I know I need to redesign my house. There's just like posters up on the wall, and I was like, wait, hold on, tell me more about the posters.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, they're of concerts. And I'm like, did you go to those concerts? Are they bands you love? And she's like, yes, they are. And I was like, great. And I saw how excited she was when she's talking about these, like, yes, they're bands that she loves, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what if the posters belong on your wall? You just need to get more intentional about how they're on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like maybe they just need to be
That's
framed. Maybe
right.
they just need to be placed in a little more strategic or intentional way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not about eliminating what we think other people aren't going to like in our life. Maybe it's about highlighting what we like about our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not asking for anybody's permission, and not comparing it to anybody else's life. Like that's what I love when I have those conversations with people and I see their eyes light up and I see all of a sudden they're like, yes, I do get to take up space in the world. Yes, I do matter. Yes, I get to be my quirky, weird self. But the difference is now I can be more intentional about it. I can own it, right? When we bring intention into it, it's like we're just owning who we are instead of kind of asking for permission to be who we are. Right? There's that subtle difference.
Yeah, and it's just about adjustments to
Mhm.
the things that we have, the places we are, our environment.
Yeah.
Adjustments. Maybe it's not a matter of elimination, as you put it. It's a
Right.
matter of adjustments.
Adjustments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we get that.
exactly.
And what could have been one of the, or some of the challenges that you face along your line of work?
Yeah, I think what's really challenging is our own personal journey in all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For me, the thing that somebody had told me a long time ago is that it's really business ownership has nothing to do with other people or your, yes, it has to do with your product and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, but what it really has to do with is yourself. You grow as the business grows. And I didn't really know what they meant by that at the time. I think I thought I knew, but the more you dive into growing a business, the more you realize that it's all about you. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about who you're showing up as. It's all about who you know yourself to be. It's all about giving yourself permission to take up space. It's all about what do you define as success and how that changes over time, right? And like how you adjust and move and with the economy, with what people need or want, your desire to stay curious about what's possible and how you're meeting people's needs and what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a journey, and so it's constant for me. The thing I kept running up against was getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's all life is really is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It doesn't matter whether you work for someone else or whatever it is that life isn't meant to be comfortable, because if it is, it's stagnant. And then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes uncomfortable because you're not growing, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, there's the discomfort of growing, or there's the discomfort of staying stuck or being stuck, right? No matter what, there's discomfort. So if you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, there's lots of growth and beauty there. It's just hard. It's all hard.
I get it. This happens to be hard for many people. I mean,
Yeah,
imagining of myself getting out of my comfort zone. I mean, there are challenges out there that I may not be very willing to put myself
yeah,
in position of. I
yeah,
mean, and for example, this thing that we are doing is not everyone that would want to come on air and talk about things they are doing, because we are afraid of maybe making some mistakes. Like we could make mistakes in business, make mistakes in our speeches, make mistakes in the relationships that we get to connect with. What's your take on making mistakes?
they're necessary.
Mm-hmm.
They should be celebrated.
they should be celebrated. So,
Yeah.
because someone to once told me that every day sit down and see the mistakes that you made during that day. Now, if you made no mistake, then you're doing nothing. You should,
Correct.
you should.
Yeah. You should be falling flat on your face on the
Mhm,
regular. Like, because then you know you're living, right? Like,
mhm,
if you are not making mistakes, I question whether or not you're living, right? Like,
mhm.
you might be alive, but you're not living, right? And
Yeah.
there's plenty of times I've made mistakes. The thing I learned more than anything is you've got to own that mistake and you've got to do what you can to learn and to learn more because you made that mistake because you didn't know enough, right? And that's
Mhm,
not a bad thing. You just didn't know what you didn't know. So when you
mhm,
make the mistake, you discover what you didn't know. So then you learn and then you're able to move forward in a stronger, better way until you
mhm,
make the next mistake and then you learn what you didn't know and then you keep going. Like it's a continual pattern of make the mistake, know figure out what you didn't know,
mhm,
learn more about what you didn't know, and then move forward into the next mistake.
mhm.
That's the pattern.
Yeah, that's good. And many times we need someone to hang by or someone to encourage us along the way because
Yeah,
by our own we may get fearful, we may get afraid, and maybe stop
yeah,
somewhere on the path. And I'm imagining that you are one of those people who helps people along from what you told us in the beginning.
yeah.
And what are the ways that you would, if someone who's watching us or listening to us this day would want to connect with you individually, apart from the interior design that we talk of? Now,
Yeah.
on the part of live design that we are mentioning, in what ways can you work directly with a person?
Yeah, absolutely. So I conduct workshops, and also connect with people one on one. I don't do like long term one on one coaching, not like months and years and so on and so forth. But I do love connecting with people one on one. In January, I'm launching group coaching again,
Mm-hmm,
because I really love group coaching. I love the way that different people's perceptions help each other to process this. Like I'm saying one set of information, and all the people in the room are hearing it differently, processing it differently, and then helping each other process it in different ways, which I absolutely love. So the dynamic of group coaching is my absolute favorite. So
mm-hmm,
I'm launching new group coaching on life design in January. You can find everything about me as a speaker, as a writer, as an interior designer on my website. It's www.consonate.world, and I'm sure it'll be tagged in the show notes. There you
mm-hmm,
go. And so, yeah, absolutely. Also, my contact information is there, and the email and my telephone number is there. You can call me directly. So that's all available to you to be able to reach out.
mm. Yeah. So, to those who may be wanting to connect with her, please go to the website and get connected. And yeah, I wish you the greatest in everything in
Thank
your
you.
life. Get the designer help that she
Yeah.
has experience in.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate being on your show.
Yeah, and before we go, we are just about to go. Before we go, what would you want us to always remember?
Curiosity. Explore your curiosity. And don't stifle it. It's where all the beauty in life lies. It's in
Mm,
curiosity.
curiosity.
Mhm.
Hey, listener. Hey, you who's watching us. How much are you curious? Now, that's left for you today to think about, contemplate, and take an action towards it to become the person that you're meant to be. Live your life purpose. Now, go mention that and say that you learned it from Shana. Remember to share this video or this audio, whatever it is that you get to listen to us or watch us. And we really appreciate. Give us feedback and live your life by design. That's about it for today. I've been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with our guest, Shana Francesca, we are saying bye for now.